Greetings, everybody. Today is a special day for the tarot community here on my channel because today is the day that I'm beginning a new series that um, I'm using to celebrate 50 years of my Hoi Polloi deck. I thought this would be a real fun way to kick off a celebration for that deck. Me, 50 years of using my Hoi Polloi. Here's my Hoi Polloi. And some of you have been asking about this deck. It is called Hoi Polloi, Hoipolloi, and it was a knockoff deck of a Rider-Waite that they published in, I believe 1971 and 1972, I think are the years. And of course it's out of print because they were forced to stop producing these because Rider-Waite held a copyright on these images or whatever. But it's really nice. I've used this before. This was for 50 years. This is my premier deck, and for many, many years, probably at least 30, maybe 40 years, it was the only tarot deck I had. So I'm very, very fond of it, and I thought it would be fun. In my first reading today, my first free reading, I'm actually going to be using this deck, okay? But I want to tell you, thank you to everybody who submitted your information to me. I asked that if you wanted to be considered for one of the 3 free readings that I'm offering on the 3rd Tuesday now of every month. For I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this. As long as we enjoy it, I'll do it. I need your information. I need a little bit of information. I needed a nickname or a first name that I could use here on YouTube so I could share your reading, but you could still remain anonymous. People wouldn't know who I'm talking about. Your privacy. We can respect your privacy as much as we can. I also asked for your date of birth and your date and place of birth and time of birth. So I could look up, and what I did was I looked up, I created a natal chart, a birth chart, showing with the sky, the picture of the sky when you were born. And I don't know if you can see, I've got a light on here. I'll show you again when I change my camera. Wait, maybe I can see. There you go. There you go. I have a little printout on each person that I picked this month because this gives me a little idea about their big 3. I don't want to delve too much into the astrology, but since you're not sitting here with me, we can enjoy the energies together. I can't feed off of your energy when you're sitting there, or if I'm communicating with you on Zoom, I can get a little sense of your energy and who you are. I have no idea who you are or what your energy is around you from this distance, but this is a good way for me to get to know your big 3, which tells me a lot about you. It tells me your sun sign, which is how you really feel. Not how you feel, who you think you are, who you are, who you identify with being, okay? And then and for that, also for your ascendant, your rising sign, it tells me how other people see you, Because, we see ourselves much different than other people see us all the time. That causes us a lot of problems sometimes. So that's kind of important to know. It gives me a little bit about your situation, perhaps. And finally, how your moon sign tells me a little bit how you react, or your emotional, what you use to, what do you use to make your decisions? How do you make your decisions? How do you react to problems? How do you react to stress? It gives me a little clue. Now, this is very, very basic information. This is nothing. This is not a chart. I'm not doing your horoscope or anything like that. I'm really not an astrologer. I don't really do that. But I do study a little bit. I follow my own, and I know this is real important. I've been using this information as a tarot reader for many years, and it has worked for me in the past. So we'll see. This is giving me my best guess. Because remember, these readings are done cold. I don't know you. I can't see you. I can't even talk to you to see your frame of mind, and I certainly can't feel your energies. This is as close as I can get. I'm not a psychic. Remember, I'm not a psychic. I'm an empathic reader, and I do read energies, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so we'll just see what happens. Okay. So what I did was, everybody who has sent me the information, that following information, plus a question, most people have a question, or I want to know an area, a target for the reading. I put in a old-fashioned, because I'm all crone, I do things the old-fashioned way. I put pieces of paper in a bowl. And the good man, my husband, drew the three names, the first of three names for me to do the reading. I wanted it to be as fair as it could possibly be. Okay, and I'll get to it. Getting to the reading, I want to say that the first person that I chose was somebody we're using the name Giddy. Giddy. Okay? And Giddy asks, what do the next 3 years hold for me? What do the next 3 years hold for me? You know, that's a pretty broad question. And again, I'm not a psychic. I am not a psychic. I don't see the future. I really don't see the future. So I really don't know, Giddy, what the next 3 years hold for you. But I have chosen a 3-card reading. And by the way, these are all going to be 3-card readings. I'll just put that there. 3 cards. And another thing I like about this is I'm going to show you, hopefully, all of the different ways you can read 3 cards. They're not all past, present, future. There's a lot of ways we can assign information to each card, and you're going to see that today. I'm going to show you 3 different examples, and hopefully next month we'll look at 3 other ones. But this, I try to name the cards in the spread according to the question. So I'm going to tell you. In this case, I am not going to do past, present, future. I'm going to do, though, future, and we're talking everything in the future she wants to know. So we're looking at future, and we're first going to start out with days. Days, maybe just days, or the immediate future. And then we're going to look at a little long-term future, maybe the remainder of this year or the months to come. And then we're going to look at the years to come, just to see if we can. But remember, this kind of a reading, nothing is written in stone. We have free will, and we can change this. This is what the picture looks like right now. Giddy, if we were to do the same reading a month from now, 6 months from now, this picture may look entirely different. This is not something that you say, oh, Rebecca told me, in April of 2022 that I was going to have this happen to me in the future, and it didn't happen to me. That's not what this kind of a reading is about. Okay, I'll explain a little more of that as we go. So right now I just want to turn the camera because I can't give too much to each particular reading. I've got to keep them kind of short. All right, so I'm going to turn my camera, change my camera a little bit, and I'm going to show you the cards. Okay, and here we have this is Giddy's cards that I have in front of me. Okay, I hope you can see. I'm going to apologize one time and tell you that I've had to go back to my old camera. I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm having a lot of issues with my new camera. My camera works beautifully, but the program that I'm using for editing does not. It took me 8 hours to just upload my film for the last couple of videos that I tried to produce. One of them I couldn't even get it finished to share with you. So I'm just disgusted. I'm going back to my old camera. I tried and choose setup here for a while and see what happens. So I just hope you bear with me. Okay. Anyway, I'm talking about Giddy, future days, maybe for future months, maybe future years. We're going to go left to right. This is like the immediate future card. This could be either a present energy for you, Giddy, or this could be just the immediate future. And we see the 6 of Wands. Now that's very interesting because if we wanted to associate times to suits, we usually say that air is like the days and wands is like weeks. Weeks. Days is usually representative of weeks. And cups, which we have next door, is usually representative of months, and then we get into years. So these are pretty good cards to show up in this kind of a reading. So I was happy to see that there was some consistency. But first of all, we see the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands, I'll just bring it up here. See if I can show you a little better. 6 of Wands. These are beautiful. My hoi polloi cards have such bright, lovely colors. Very, very indicative of the 70s, early 70s. This is the colors that we associate with that time. So I really love this. But anyway, um, the 6 of Wands is something that is all about there's some kind of a triumph. There's been somebody who's worked really, really hard and they have finally achieved their goals and they're getting some kind of accolade for it. They're getting some kind of praise, a recognition for the work that they've done. Okay. And Giddy, I want to say that this card to me tells me that you have achieved your goals and you're getting public acknowledgement, or like right now you feel like you're you've worked really hard to get where you are, to wherever you are in this place. Um, you're looking a year ahead to 3 years. It makes me feel that you're really, you want to make sure that are you on the right track? Are you going, since you put so much work into where you are, um, you want to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. Okay. And I like this Six of Wands and the image of this because here the figure in the on the card is sitting very straight and tall, very proud, um, and facing straight ahead, ready to go off into the future. Okay. And that's really a lovely thing. Okay. Um, and I see your moon, Giddy, is in Leo, and your moon is tells me that you really need to have that admiration. You need to have that respect, and you really enjoy having the attention on yourself. That's part of completing who you are. So whether this has to do with a personal situation, has to do with a professional situation, um, it's very important that others around you recognize how hard you have worked to get to this place. And the only, I remember I usually have a caution in each card. I want to say to you, be sure you don't want to become too much of a show off. You don't want to make it all about your look at me, look at my challenge, look how well I've done, because not everybody's successes are measured in the same way. This is a personal triumph to you, even if it is in a business or a relationship or personal life, it's still unique to you. Your feelings of accomplishment are still unique to you. So I just want you to keep that in mind, but be very, very proud. Be very, very proud and to feel secure. Security is the key here, I see, and going forward. Okay. Um, because I think what happens, Giddy, when I'm looking also at your big three, your in your chart here, and I'm seeing that you can be really sensitive to criticism as a Cancer ascendant. You could be very sensitive to criticism, and if you think people don't really appreciate you, you have a tendency maybe to withdraw and become maybe moody, and you maybe you're questioning, your actions in the past. So you seem to be very dependent upon how other people see you. Maybe a little bit more so with how you see yourself. Okay, with how you see yourself. Okay, now we're going to move on into the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is next. And again, here we have the familiar figure. And the Six of Cups usually has something to do with something that you've worked for. It could be a wish coming true, something that you've wanted to do for a long time. It's come true. It also can be you looking backwards. And for many people, it is looking backwards. Okay. Which is kind of interesting when we talk about that, because we're talking about here how hard you worked, and here this is about remembering. Yes, you're going to remember that your past. You can remember um, what has happened in the past, and this happens to a lot of us. We tend to sometimes we question which way we're going, and we question by looking backwards. We question by looking backwards because we're worried about what has happened in the past and being able to move on from the past. What if we go back to the way things were, or what if something has happened in the past that I don't know if we can, it's just it's coming up, it's cropping up every now and again. These are like our little past monsters that come up to haunt us. When really we have to remember at all time that you can't ever live in the past. You can't live in the past. You can you have to stay in the present. You have to stay in the present. So as we move forward into the time, Giddy, we want to make sure that you're not back here. You're not back here having to be the center of attention and getting all your attention and getting credit for everything. People are not going to be standing by to applaud you on every step of the way. The universe is not going to be standing by to applaud you on every step of the way. So don't be looking back at this and how great this was. This is about being yourself, being your authentic self. You are a very creative person. I think you're a very creative person. I see that in your you have a very playful childlike, almost childlike interest in, being spontaneous and in the world around you, and you love to be stimulated by what's going on around you. You love that kind of stimulants. um you're not always going to have this kind of attention as you move forward. The attention that you should be giving yourself is what is internal to you, being your authentic self, being your authentic self, remaining in the present, forgiving yourself for any shortcomings you have had in the past, or, making peace with whatever has happened in the past, always moving forward. And finally, we get to the sun. We get to the sun, which is a big card. Oh, everybody loves the sun. It's like one of the best cards. It's supposed to be like the best card in the whole deck, because it's like breaking through. It's absolutely um it's everything is, I see it, it's just becoming whatever was in the past, breaking through that, going beyond it, and having success and ready to move. This is a very, very, very positive card in the deck. But it's what is important in this reading for you, Giddy, is this card is it is connecting you to your power base. Your power base is that drive that you love, that you love to be spontaneous. You love to you love the movement. But also we want to be your authentic self. Notice the little baby that everybody hates on these cards, the little naked baby, the ugly naked baby they call them. Very confident. The baby is naked. It is naked. Your authentic self. No, nothing, no illusion. People are seeing you for who you really are. And that's what this card is about. As you move forward, your success depends on showing your authentic self all the time. Not who you used to be, not going back and remembering, oh, remember when this happened? No, he has nothing with him. He's carrying nothing on this horse. He's riding free, only with his authentic self, or her authentic self. Okay. In order to be fully present in the world, you must expect yourself. Okay. You must express yourself. Okay. This sense that you will give you, knowing your authentic self and being comfortable with it, it should give you an increase in, physical energy, positivity, good health. We look at good health. Um, you could have you could have kind of lost some of your enthusiasm along the way, except this can be overcome. It's temporary, and this is natural. We all have ebbs and we ebb and flow. We all have ups and downs where our confidence or enthusiasm falls short sometimes. That's temporary. That is temporary. Stay true to your authentic self and move forward. But avoid being overconfident and avoid being unrealistic. Okay? That's a little bit of advice going forward. Okay, Kitty, thank you very much. And feel free, if you want to qualify for another 3 for free in the future, send me your information again, because once it comes out of my bowl, it's going to stay out of the bowl until we're going to try to get through everybody. And hopefully anybody watching who has not been considered for this reading, send me your information and I'll give you a little more information at the end. Okay, I'm going to switch my camera because I need to move on to another reading. Thank you, Giddy, and good luck to you. Okay, reading number 2 is going to be for Heather F. Heather F. We had quite a few Heathers, not quite a few, but more than one for sure. Heathers wanting reading, so we're going to use an initial F to clarify. This is for Heather F. Um, And Heather did not actually have a question for me. She just, I think, wants to know just general energies around her at this time. So I did a chart for her to determine, using her information, her birth information, and found her to be, her sun is in Leo. Um, Hardworking. She likes things her way, but she's very strong. She vitalizes other people around her. The shadowy side, maybe, if her sun sign in Leo, is maybe she's maybe a little bit hard headed, or maybe um, uh, could be maybe ostentatious, maybe even lean towards that a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. That's going to play a part in the card reading or not. But we look at her rising sign in Scorpio. Very deep emotions, very spiritual, spirited. She's very proud. She likes things her way. This is how other people see you, Heather. This is how other people see you. Your rising sign. It's maybe not how you feel at all. Um, they see that you're easily hurt by others, and sometimes you strike out with sarcasm. You're sensitive and you are very curious, that you pursue some interests almost with in a fanatical way. Like you just get really caught up in things very easily. Also, being a moon, your moon is in Pisces, of course, a water sign. Extremely sensitive. This is your emotions. You could use a thicker skin, maybe tending to react emotionally, um, instead of using, logic or whatever. I can certainly identify with that. Um, but it says, the other thing is that I found interesting. It says that you are very kind and good at caring for things that need your help, kind or sick or wounded animals or people. But it cautions you tend to absorb the energy of others. So if there's wounded spirits around you, you tend to absorb that wounded energy and take that upon yourself. So there maybe is a little bit of caution given there. Okay, well, let's move on. I want to move on to your reading. That's more important than any kind of a astronomical analysis. But it gives me a little bit of the idea of the energies maybe going into the reading. We'll see. I'm using my Force of Enchantment deck, which I love, love, love. I do apologize every time I use it here on camera because it is so hard to see these beautiful, beautiful um, illustrated cards on camera. They don't translate well, but the cards read beautifully for me, so I like to use it nonetheless. So I'm sharing the visual of the cards, but remember, it's the message behind the cards that is important in a tarot reading. I I put them on the back of Heather F's report here, so I could have a white background, because they were so close to the color of my cloth here that I wanted to make them stand out a little bit better. But we have the three cards that we have represented here, of course, we have no question asked. So we're just going to generally look at what they are and what I determined, because I promised you that I was going to have different 3 card readings. I've assigned a question. Heather F didn't have a question. I gave her a question. And the first card is going to ask, who am I? Who is Heather F? Who is she? Right now, what's Heather F all about right now? Okay, and then we're going to move on to, what does Heather F need? What are her needs right now? And then finally, we're going to ask, how will she get what she needs? So what's going on with Heather F now? What does she need? And how might she get that? Okay, that's what we're asking the cards right now. This is a really good exercise for all of you who are trying to become a little bit more proficient in the tarot, getting used to directly answering what the card we're asking the card. This is about her right now. This is not about her future. This is not about what she should be doing. This is just energy around her. And here we see, it looks almost like the Hansel character from exactly that's who it is. Here coming out of the woods, a male figure, and here's the gingerbread house. And in this deck, he's called the Child of Boons, and that just translates. This deck speak for Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles. Okay, so that's a very airy sign of Pentacles, a very airy sign of Earth. Um, sort of like a little bit in his head. He's a little bit in his head as a page. As a child, he's very immature in his head with dealing with practical matters. That's what I see here for Heather. Okay. And it may be time, Heather F., for you to pay attention to some of your material security and prosperity issues. Okay. Um, Hansel, the interesting part about this card is Hansel is approached the gingerbread house. He came out of the woods lost. We know the story. He was lost. He was hungry. He didn't know where he was going. And oh, what luck, Hansel thinks, to come across a house made out of gingerbread and candy and yummy sweets, right? What luck. And this is the epitome of the page of Pentacles, or in this case, the Page of Pentacles, or the Child of Boons in this case. Because did luck bring you here, Heather F? How have you been taking care of yourself up until this time? Okay. We want to make sure at this point in your journey that you are taking care of yourself. And it says that this implies a bit of an inexperience or unearthly practicalities. Maybe you can't manage money, or you expect other people to take care of you, or you expect, like Hansel, to just happen upon what you need. A lot of people approach life this way. Oh, don't worry. I think some people that really religious, a lot of religious people, a lot of Christians say, God will provide. We don't have to worry about it. God will provide. Well, in this case, maybe that's true, but in this case, this was not God providing this gingerbread house. This was just, first of all, there was a witch inside, which we won't go there. But I mean, this was, really not as lucky and didn't provide for him what he really needed like he thought it was. So this is like being a little more attentive to your needs, your practical needs. And I don't know if this is money. I wouldn't even begin to say this was money, Heather, because I don't know what your situation might be. But I want to say it is material security. It could also be, remember the other things that pentacles represent. Your relationship, right? Your job, your relationship, your family, your immediate friends. Are you being outgoing and reaching out to people to help you where you need help, or to just be with you and to be a part of you, to make you feel like where you belong, to make you feel secure in your environment? We all need people around us to, whether it's a family member or it's just friends, we need people around us to give us a sense of belonging. So that's where this is. I see the energy here. And here we say, what do I need? What do I need? Well, maybe this will give us a little more um, clarification of what earthly, practical things, boons, this character needs, Heather F. needs. And we see here the Ace of Visions. And here's a swan. The swan swimming around in the water. And we see um, uh, her reflection. When she looks at her reflection shows, I know you can't tell in this light. It just doesn't work. It's very faint. It's very faint. But she's got a crown, a glittery crown on her head, and the jewel around her neck. The jewel. Um, she's adorned with this precious jewel, which is her. Okay, that is herself. Be comfortable with who you are. It is be comfortable with who you are, but also to express who you are to others. That's the important part of this card. To make sure this is the way she sees herself, but how do others see her? How do others see you? Okay. And we look at how others see us, how others see you. That would be your rising sign. And it says sometimes people wonder how to even draw you out. People look at you, like when I look at your rising sign in Scorpio, you're a very deep person, feel things very deeply. And it said, you really like your own way. You're spirited, you're willful, you're proud, and others sometimes look at you and say, how can you, how can we get Heather out of her shell, Heather F out of her shell? It says you're easily hurt by others. You sometimes strike back with sarcasm. You're sensitive, okay, and get very involved in what your interests are in. Maybe you're neglecting the people around you. Maybe you're being so much a part of yourself that you are not being able to be drawn out by others. Okay. So if you need to see to your security, your practical needs of family or security or friendship or whatever, um, be sure that you're not shutting yourself off from opportunity. Don't shut yourself off from opportunity. I think that's what we're saying here. To be receptive, to actually be receptive to what's going around you. Pay attention to what's around you, not just what you're interested in, but open your eyes and look around you. Okay. Be very happy with who you are, but give yourself permission to accept what others are offering to you. Give yourself permission. You don't have to do it all yourself. There's nothing wrong with needing help. There's nothing wrong with wanting other people to help you. We all need people to help us. We all need that. That's part of being human. That's part of being human nature. Okay. And it also says the more that you give others, the more you'll receive. And I think this is has been implying, I can see by your natal chart here, that you are a person who gives. You're a person who cares very deeply for people in need and animals in need or whatever, neighbors in need. Um, but giving, the more you give, the more people are going to want to give back to you. And you need to be receiving of that attention. Be willing to receive that attention because you're going to need that. You need that. Okay. And finally, we look at how will she get it? How could she get it? Well, here we have moonlight. Here we have moonlight. And I don't know if you see, you probably do not. Again, I'm apologizing, but listen to the message, Heather. We have three hares actually dancing around in the nighttime in this glittery stars. They're looking into the water here and they see the reflection of the moon in the water. Okay. Um, and it says here, allow intuition to rule over logic for a time. Don't try to be too logical. How will you get what you need? Don't try to be too logical. Don't try to think with your head. Okay? The moonlight is showing us something that we cannot see. Something is hidden from the view. We know that from the traditional reading of the moon card in the Rider-Waite deck, that you don't see so clearly what the moon is illuminating from its position in the sky. You really can't see well until the sun comes out the next day, right? You can't really see well. There's a lot of things you can't see hidden in the shadows or maybe not very clear because the moonlight is not very clear. So this is saying don't worry about that. Don't worry about looking with your eyes. Okay? Listen. Listen. Trust your intuition so you can see what's beyond what's in front of you. You're not going to see with your eyes. Pay attention. Go outside in the dark. Go outside in the dark and listen. Go outside in the dark and listen to your emotions. Listen to your intuition. That third eye, right? Don't worry about looking around and being practical. This is not the time to be practical, even though you need practical. Maybe there's something practical that you need, but you're going to get it through this strong connection that you should have with things around you. With all that love and attention you're giving out, you're getting it back. And listen to it. Pay attention to it. Okay? Spend some time looking and seeing what you cannot see with your eyes. What is hidden from your view, something that you can listen to and hear from your intuition. Okay. Okay. I hope that helped you, Heather F. Thank you very much for submitting your name, and I hope that maybe you'll submit again in the future, and we'll give you another reading in the future. And if you come up with a real question, another question, a specific question, I'm very happy to do that as well. Okay, I'm going to move on to reading number 3. My final reading for today is for someone named Mina. Mina. Mina had a specific question. Actually, she was asking about her financial situation. Apparently, she's been having some financial problems, and she wants to know if she's going to recover from these financial problems. I think I have said before, I want to say again, that I am not a fortune teller. I'm not a psychic. I don't know if she's going to recover or not from her financial problems, but I can very well address her issues about finances. We can talk about finances as a general situation. We can maybe see how this is going to be is playing out in her. We can apply the reading towards her financial problems. So we're going to ask all about her the journey on her. We're looking ahead into the journey of her problems. We're addressing all of these towards her finances and her recovery from them. Even though we're not actually giving names to these cards, um, she didn't really have a specific timeline involved. We weren't going to use their timeline, but I will say that we're talking about issues associated with her financial situation. So we can address all of these towards that very comfortably without really asking too much of each card specifically to answer a question. Okay, so I'm using my Shadowland deck. Usually use this for shadow work, but I want to say the first thing that came to mind was when Mina was asking a financial question, asking for advice on a financial matter, and she was asking a tarot reader. I wondered to myself, uh, why she was asking a tarot reader about her finances. I think there's a lot of people, professionals, that are much more equipped to handle her about financial matters than a tarot reader. So I was looking at the shadow part of this whole question, the idea that she is somehow very tied emotionally to this situation of her finances. It has affected her personally. I don't think she is looking for the bottom line dollar answer. As much as she's looking for maybe the cause of her money issues in the first place, and she is perhaps afraid that rather than just not recovering from it, that these things, these patterns, or whatever has caused the financial problems in the first place, might repeat itself. And this is the kind of things that we deal with as a tarot reader when we're reading tarot cards, rather than bottom line, dollars and cents, which we really don't have any control over that. But we can very much read the energies around Mina. We can very much read maybe where things are, the energies about the subject are with regards to Mina, and look again at her chart. I looked at her birth chart to see how she might respond and how this might affect her life. And we see, first of all, our sun is in Cancer. I, of course, identify with that. I'm very generous person. Um, when her emotions aren't met, but otherwise she's very insecure. If she doesn't have her needs met, she could be very insecure, and this is affecting. So these money problems are probably really affecting her emotions, which is could be part of the issue why she has the question. Her She holds her home as a Cancer almost as it's a larger than life almost importance, and I know that as a Cancer myself. Her home is everything. The home is her heart. It's the center of who she is. And if she's worried about her home situation again because of finances, that is really throwing her off balance, and I can see that. So that's a very important reason why she might be asking the question. Her rising sign is in Libra, which is usually she'll do anything to get peace. She'll do anything for people to get along and have harmony, and for things that she doesn't do well in situations where there's, any ugliness. She tries to hide that, and she might be very well trying to hide that from other people because she doesn't. Maybe she's just she doesn't want people to know about it. Maybe she's embarrassed, or because she usually is seen as a very, charming person. She's maybe charmed her way out of problems in the past, and money is not something you can charm your way out of. So that might be part of her issue as well. Okay. Her moon, of course, is in Aquarius, which is kind of an interesting. This is, of course, about her reaction, her emotional status, how she reacts to problems. And the one notable thing about someone who has their moon in Aquarius is they really want it to be as they want it. They, no matter what it takes to get it right, it has to be. I must be able to do whatever I want to do no matter what. You can be very stubborn, as a matter of fact, and try to force things to become the way I want. You solve your problems with your intellect rather than your emotions, not your feelings. It is you're a smart person, but you're sometimes not always tolerant of how other people see you. So you could be sort of um, maybe people around you are offering you advice that you don't like. That could be something. So anyway, we're going to look at the cards and we're going to see what the cards have to say about this. And I thought it was so fun, so interesting. Not that I'm making light of your problems, Mina. I'm not. But oh, I love this deck so much because this deck sometimes is so truthful. It just tells us things as they are. And the very first card that I picked was the Knight of Pentacles. And can you see this? This is a grasshopper. And instead of riding a horse like on the Rider Waite, the grasshopper is riding a snail. And look at him, he's holding a bag of money. He's holding a bag of money. He's going charging forward to deal with his money. But what is he riding? He's riding a snail. He's riding a snail. And does this mean that you're just, oh, it's going to take forever? No, that's not what this card means at all. This card means that he sometimes takes a long time, but sometimes the details are worth more than getting there fast. Getting there right is more important than getting there fast. That's the message in this card. Okay. Um, and we know this for you, Mina. You use your brain and not your feelings to solve problems. So you know you are sticking to the tried and true method of whatever you think is right to do. That's what you're going to do. It's not going to be fast. You're not going to solve your problem in a quick way. It's going to be done, but it's going to be done your way in your time. And that's what's happening here. Your way and your time. Okay. And I also see that you maybe are, if you have certain ideas about how you can be helped or how you're not going to be helped, um, they're very specific. You're very specific, and you're going to do that. So you're not as likely to take advice from other people. You know, other people about how you got into the problem or how you can avoid the problem in the first place. Because like I don't know what the situation is. Um, that caused your problems in the first place. But yes, it looks bright that you're going to be able to get out of it, but it's going to take a while. I imagine it probably took you a while to get into the problem in the first place. So it's probably going to take you a while to get out of the problem. I know this because I think all of us have dealt with money issues, and I have said this in the past. I've discovered along the way that we nickel and dime ourselves to death all the time. We don't see it happening. Most of us that have money problems, we don't see it happening. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and buy this. I'm going to go ahead and buy this. I'm going to go ahead and buy this. How many people go into the dollar store on payday and spend $100 in the dollar store? Think about it. It's easy to do, right? It's easy to do. Oh, this is only $1. Well, this is only $1. I'll take this. I'll take this. I'll take this. And before you know it, you've spent $50. And really, what do you have? A cart full of junk. In a lot of ways, you have sometimes a cart full of junk for $50. This is the way we lose money, and this is also the way we get it back. By being thrifty, by cutting down, by cutting corners, by just being a little bit more careful, we can recover, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. The money doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't fall from the sky. Okay. Second card, Queen of Wands. Oh, the Queen of Wands, isn't she lovely? The Queen of Wands. And I see the Queen of Wands. Maybe this is you, Mina. The Queen of Wands this is her description in the book, not a foolish spender or a hoarder. She's not those things. But perhaps the question is even asked, have you overextended by sharing your wealth when you were not in a position to do so? You're a generous person. Okay? You're popular. You're popular. Maybe you wanted to make somebody happy and you shared with them. Maybe you took turns and maybe you bought two expensive gifts or bought expensive gifts for the people that you loved, or you insisted on buying lunch to impress a coworker, or those are the kind of things that happen that cause us money problems because we're too embarrassed or we're too insecure about showing when we are not at our best. Okay. So this could possibly have been a situation, okay? So how's your desire to establish a comfortable home that meant so much to you as a Cancer caused you to overextend? Okay. Now, because one of the things I read in your natal chart is that you really have to have things as you wish no matter what. I just have to have that expensive carpet, or I have to have that tile. I have to have, quartz countertops or whatever. Okay. That could lead to your problem. That could lead to your problem. Okay. So we have to recognize the problem in order for it to go away. That's the issue, the message in these cards. You need to really examine what it is that caused you this problem in the first place, so that you can correct it. And oh, wasn't this something? The last card that came up, the Eight of Swords. Here we have the crow wrapped up in a circle of feathers. That's how it's illustrated in this book, in this deck. The Eight of Swords. And what is happening? These are feathers holding this bird inside. He's waiting to be rescued. He's waiting to be rescued. And I was looking in the book and reading about this card, and I found so many things that apply to your situation, possibly apply to your situation. And one of the most important things, it says, well, he feels trapped, and that can be very overwhelming. Okay. And, but once you believe that narrative, once you tell yourself that you're trapped, you start to believe that. And he believes that he can't move. But he can move. He can move. These are feathers. He can get out of there. There is a way for him to get out of there. Okay. And the swords is the air. Remember, he's trapped. And a lot of it's in his head. It's in his head. And this is pretty interesting because it says you use your brain. You use your brain. I hear we were talking about using your brain and not your feelings. Okay. To And that's a part of the moon in Aquarius. You solve your problems with your brains instead of your feelings. What's his brain doing now? His brain is telling him that he's trapped. That's a story you made up from your head. It's a story you made up in your head. Whether it's true or not, you're not trapped. You're never trapped. There's never too late. Never too late to fix things. Okay? But this has to be fixed before you can fix it. This kind of thing. And it says the truth is, it doesn't matter whether or not you are responsible for creating the situation you are in. You and you alone are accountable to change it. There's nobody else can change it, because what led you here in the first place? You need to look at what led you here. Did you buy everything you wanted because you needed it? Because you were too generous with people? You were trying to have what you wanted when you'd really done the money for it? You were overextending just to get what you want when you wanted it? What is the reason that you got where you are in the first place? You need to examine that, and you need to change it. And it's going to take you time. It's going to take you time. But if you want it to be fixed, you got to take the time to fix it. Because if I gave you $10,000 tomorrow and you paid off all your bills, or how much you need, if you don't change what brought you to this place in the first place, you're not going to change it, because it'll just reoccur. Okay. So, if people are telling you, offering you advice, and that's bothering you, that's part of who you are. That you like to do things your way. You do like to use things your way. You like to do things the tried and true way. You like to think, that ways you're comfortable with. That's understanding. But you need to remember that the only way you can see where you're stuck is to see why you got there in the first place. Okay. So that's really this is the time to come up with a plan. If you have an issue with money, you have to have a plan and you have to stick to your plan. And you will not recover from this problem until you do that. That's just the facts, Jack. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you that very clearly. That's the facts. Okay. But it's never too late. It's never too late. Take your blindfold off. Fly out of this nest of feathers and do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Okay, let me change my camera. Okay, I hope the readings were informative. I hope the readings helped. Again, I read for Giddy, I read for Heather F., and I read for Mina. I was so happy and I was very honored that you asked me to read for you. I love to read for people. If you want to be considered for next month for May's 3 for free tarot readings, that will happen on the third Tuesday of May. Send me your information now. Send me your name. First name's fine, or nickname, something I can call you here. Send me your date, time, and place of birth so that I can get a natal chart on you, so I can get a little idea about you, what your energies are. And give me a question. If you have a question, try again not to have too much, not really a yes or no, but something, an open-ended question that we can give the cards a little chance to give us some information. A little more than a yes no answer, okay? Which is not that helpful, really. When you come down to it, it's not that helpful, okay? So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Those of you who are I didn't read for, I hope that you got a little bit out of this. We're going to be doing this with some different decks. We're going to be doing this exercise with different kinds of 3-card readings for a while and see how that goes. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Rebecca, the Good Wife, and I wish you blessings.